So assuming that we've decided on a diet and we're eating whole food, is there does the cooking method matter? Is there, a better cooking method?
There are some debates about frying and deep frying, which of course, essentially add a great deal of concentrated fat to any given preparation. And it's not irrelevant, given our prior topic of calories, that fat is the most energy dense of the macronutrients. So there's slightly less than 4 kilocalories per gram of protein, approximately 4 kilocalories per gram of carbohydrate, and 9 kilocalories, give or take, per fat. So twice as energy dense as the other. So for any given volume of protein, carbohydrate, or fat, you have twice as many calories, more than twice as many with fat. And when you fry or deep fry, you're adding all those calories. So when you put more calories into a smaller space, it stands to reason that it's easier to consume more calories in a shorter period of time, in a smaller volume of food. And there really is a long history of research on the topic suggesting that very high fat diets tend to favor caloric overload. Now, that's not invariably true, because when the fat is coming from very nutrient dense foods that happen to be high in fat, think avocado, think walnuts and almonds and other tree nuts, it's less of a problem, because those foods, although rich in energy, rich in calories, are also extremely rich in nutrients and very satiating. So essentially, if you think of satiating as the ability of the food to fill you up and keep you full, and energy density is the ability of food to deliver a lot of calories, if the ratio of satiation to calories is still favorable, the calories become less of a concern. Yes, there were concentrated calories there, but a small amount of that food made me feel full and kept me full for a long enough period of time that it was a wash. So it's really a subtle topic, but cooking techniques don't necessarily have that same advantage. So deep fried food adds a high concentration of calories and probably disadvantageous to portion control, calorie control, weight control relative to all the other cooking methods: grilling, broiling, baking, sauteing, etc. But there are many options to have a proverbial cake and eat it too, such as an air fryer. Many modern kitchens are equipped with an air fryer, and so you can actually achieve the mouthfeel of fried food with much lesser additions of oil and consequently much lesser additions of calories. So I don't think anything is out of bounds. And some foods being fried or even deep fried, fine, provided you use the right kinds of oil. So the oil is actually good for you. But I think we have a wide range of options, and I do think it's important that modern technology enables us to achieve essentially all of the cooking methods while eliminating some of the liabilities. So, my wife does the cooking in the Katz household. She's a brilliant cook, but she swears by her air fryer. So, among the apparatus you might think about having in your family kitchen, think about adding that. But that would really be it. I mean, the other concerns take us another direction. So, for example, with grilling, if you char the surface of food, there's the potential to create carcinogens, especially on meat, but not exclusively. So you want to be careful about not charring. That doesn't mean you can't grill. It just means you don't want to burn. On and on it goes. But I would say, by and large, all cooking methods are acceptable.
Interesting. So you did kind of allude to that a little bit. So it depends on the oil. So
Oh,
without getting into too much detail, any kind of comments on what kind of oil we should be looking for?
sure, sure. Yeah, no, good question. And this is a topic that's come up for me in various contexts many times over the years. I've had to address it in studies. We've studied in my lab over the years endothelial function, which is a marker of cardiovascular health, and we've studied the effects of various oils. It's come up. I used to write years ago for Oprah's magazine, did a nutrition column. It came up there. I used to report on air for Good Morning America. It came up there, and over and over and over again. And it's in all of my books. So to give you the punchline, in the Katz family kitchen, we rely preferentially on extra virgin olive oil, especially when we're cooking at low temperature or not cooking. So for example, drizzled over salads and so forth. And when we're cooking and when we want less introduction of a specific flavor, because extra virgin olive oil is flavorful, we use organic expeller pressed canola oil. There are other good options these days. There's actually been a shift over the years in the selection of soy plants, and the prevailing version of soybean oil in the US, and I presume it's the same in the UK, actually has an excellent fatty acid profile. That wasn't always the case. Soybean oil used to be very rich in omega-6 fats and very low in omega-3. The new versions, and these are not genetically modified, this is really just a selection of different varietals of the plant. But the newest versions of soybean oil that prevail are lower in omega-6, rich in omega-3, high in monounsaturated fat like olive oil. So they're like olive oil, but with a greater concentration of omega-3 fat, which we need. So another excellent choice. So we could potentially use some of that. And then there's specialty oils like avocado, walnut, which are great in terms of fatty acid profile, excellent in terms of flavor, but for very selective use, if only because they're outrageously expensive. So yes, it matters what you choose. So those would be our choices. It's interesting to note, Richard, that within the nutrition world, and especially in the world of vegan nutrition, plant-exclusive nutrition, there are competing camps, one of which argues you should add no oil to your diet. Mm-hmm. And that's partly predicated on the work of Caldwell Esselstyn, who has shown reversal of heart disease with a whole food, plant-exclusive, low-fat diet. But I also look, afield at some of the studies that have examined effects on myocardial infarction, long-term cardiovascular outcomes with the Mediterranean diet. And they look just as good to me. And that's a high-fat diet, but it's high-quality fat. In a true Mediterranean diet, it's extra virgin olive oil. The final thing I want to append, my view is you can have a low-fat diet and have an optimal diet for cardiovascular health. You can have a high-fat diet and have an optimal diet for cardiovascular health, assuming it's the right kind of oil. The final thing I want to say is what you call the oil is not enough. So olive oil is not enough, because olive oil can be basically, it can go rancid. The fatty acids can degrade. They can esterify. You can actually have a rising percentage of trans fat in the oil if it's been exposed to heat or light too long. If it wasn't extracted the proper way, so you can extract oils from olives or from nuts or from other sources with a chemical process, where the chemicals used to extract the oil alter the fatty acids. So you really need to pick oil that was mechanically extracted, preferably in cold, because heat also tends to alter the fatty acids. So that's why you're looking for things. Organic is good, expeller or mechanically pressed, cold pressed. And in the case of olive oil, extra virgin means you're getting the young olives, which in addition to an excellent fatty acid profile, are really quite concentrated in some unique antioxidants. And actually, there's a rich literature on the effects of the antioxidants in olives. The one that's been studied most extensively is oleocanthal. And the findings are really quite stunning. Beneficial effects on platelet aggregation, beneficial effects on blood pressure, beneficial effects on inflammatory markers, and beneficial effects that even extend into the realm of cancer prevention, showing that they inhibit progression of cancer cells in cell culture, and on it goes. So these compounds in the oleocanthal class are extremely interesting. So I think you can choose between a diet relatively richer in added oils chosen wisely because you really prefer that, or a diet where you avoid added oils and be fine either way, but the oils you choose make all the difference.